Have you ever thought that positivity could be toxic? Yes, you heard it right. Even something as seemingly harmless as positivity can turn toxic. It's a surprising concept, isn't it? But let's delve a bit deeper. Imagine a world where all negative emotions are dismissed, where sadness, grief, and frustration are swept under the rug in favor of relentless optimism. This is the realm of toxic positivity. It's essentially the overgeneralization of a happy, optimistic state, resulting in the denial, minimization, and invalidation of the authentic human emotional experience. When positivity becomes a mask, a forced facade, it loses its healing power. It becomes a shackle, trapping us in a cycle of denial and suppression. The truth is, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to feel, to experience the full spectrum of human emotions. Toxic positivity can be as damaging as any form of negativity, but how can we identify it? Meet Jane. She's always smiling, always positive, but behind that smile is a struggle that most of us fail to see. Jane is the kind of person who lights up a room. She's known for her infectious laughter, her ever-present optimism, and her knack for always seeing the bright side. She's the one people turn to when they need a pick-me-up, a beacon of positivity, always ready with a kind word and a smile. But what most people don't know is that Jane is fighting a hidden battle. A battle with depression. A battle that is made all the more challenging by her constant need to stay positive. You see, Jane has bought into the myth of toxic positivity. The idea that in order to be happy, you must be positive at all times. That negativity in any form is a sign of weakness, that it's better to hide your pain behind a smile than to acknowledge it and risk bringing others down. And so, Jane smiles, she laughs, she radiates positivity, even when she's falling apart inside. She's become so adept at masking her true feelings that she's convinced even herself that she's fine. But she's not fine. Her constant need to stay positive is isolating her from those who care about her. It's preventing her from seeking help. It's intensifying her feelings of despair, of loneliness, of unworthiness. She's trapped in a cycle of toxic positivity where every negative emotion is quickly dismissed and replaced with a facade of positivity. It's a cycle that's not only damaging her mental health, but also her relationships and her ability to cope with life's challenges. Jane's story is a poignant reminder that it's okay not to be okay, that it's okay to feel, to hurt, to grieve, that it's okay to reach out, to seek help, to let others in. Jane's story is not uncommon. Many of us are guilty of promoting toxic positivity, often without even realizing it. It's a pattern that we need to recognize and break free from, for the sake of our mental health and the mental health of those around us. So, how do we recognize toxic positivity? It's simpler than you think. First off, look out for the dismissal of emotions. Toxic positivity tends to brush off feelings that aren't sunshine and rainbows. If someone's emotions, be it sadness, anger, or frustration, are consistently dismissed and replaced with a call to just be positive, that's a red flag. Secondly, pay attention to guilt. Toxic positivity often breeds guilt for feeling what you feel. If you or someone else feels guilty or ashamed for expressing anything other than positivity, that's a sign. Lastly, toxic positivity can be a master of evasion. It can be used as an excuse to avoid difficult conversations, to sidestep discomfort, to dodge reality. If you notice a pattern of avoidance under the guise of positivity, that's another telltale sign. Recognizing toxic positivity is the first step towards addressing it. Now that we know how to identify toxic positivity, it's time to learn how to break free from its clutches. First, we must acknowledge all emotions, whether it's joy, sadness, anger, or fear. All feelings are valid and need to be recognized. Dismissing or suppressing them only leads to emotional imbalance. Second, practice emotional intelligence. This involves recognizing your emotions, understanding why they occur, and managing them effectively. Emotional intelligence also involves empathizing with others, acknowledging their feelings without judgment. Lastly, encourage open and honest conversations about mental health. We should create a safe space where it's okay to express vulnerability, where it's okay to say, "I'm not doing okay." We should listen to others with compassion, not rush to offer solutions or dismiss their feelings with platitudes of positivity. The journey to break free from toxic positivity may not be easy, but it's worth it. Remember, it's okay not to be okay, and acknowledging that is the first step towards true positivity. In this journey to break free from toxic positivity, it's essential to replace it with genuine positivity. This doesn't mean ignoring the negative. Instead, it's about acknowledging all emotions and then focusing on the positives. Genuine positivity encourages growth, resilience, and emotional well-being. It's about finding the silver lining in every situation, not denying the existence of the cloud. It's about cultivating an attitude of gratitude, even in the face of adversity. It's about understanding that it's okay to feel, it's okay to be human. Remember, positivity is not the absence of negative emotions, but the ability to navigate through them. And as we navigate these emotions together, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for Inside Serene, your mental fitness program. We're here to support you on your journey towards genuine positivity and mental wellness.
While you may be thinking, let's turn this completely the other direction and live in the light, we have to address another debilitating behavior. Guess what? We see it everywhere these days. Toxic positivity. It's an oxymoron. Positivity, oh, that's a great thing. Toxic, that's a bad thing. So you combine the two. So let's dive in here. What are we talking about, Doc?
It's the refusal to acknowledge that it is okay to not be okay. Everything doesn't have to be sunshine and rainbows and puppy dogs, right? It's okay to be able to say, you know what? Life is okay, but today, it's not a good day for me. So toxic positivity is when somebody always puts a positive spin on whatever.
No matter what it is.
Right, no matter what. Well, it could be worse. You could be dead. You could be broke. You could be homeless. Right? No matter what, there's always a positive tail at the end.
Which isn't healthy. I mean, you've talked about it so many times on the show that if there's something going on inside you need to address it, and you need to properly process it, whether it's grieving, if you need to be sad, if you need to be reflective. It's part of the process of maintaining good mental health.
Right. The toxic positivity, it's a perpetual state of denial, because you can't acknowledge that life today has a bump in the road, a hurdle you need to cross, and it's okay. We've crossed them before, we can cross it again. It is the ultimate when it comes to invalidation.
And isn't it true that if you have some sort of pain that you should process and you don't, and you file it away, you put it on the back shelf inside your body, that's going to come back to haunt you in a way that may require a lot of good old couch time with you.
You've seen it, I've seen it. It comes out in ways you can't control, and it comes out in behaviors that you didn't see coming, right? And so it comes from a good place, the toxic positivity, because they're trying to be compassionate. They're trying to show you some consideration, but the thing about compassion is true compassion says, I can walk into this dark room where my friend is hurting, and I can sit down and hold their hand in the dark and not feel compelled to have to turn on the light, knowing that the darkness is not going to consume either one of us. We've got to take a minute to sit with that. Yeah.
So Dr. Ish, when pain isn't acknowledged or it's blown off, what kind of damage, I asked you, can cause it, so what kind of damage typically can you see?
Right, well, it helps me feel small. It helps me feel insignificant, right? It invalidates me. It's just one more thing on that evidence list of why I'm not good enough. Right? Well, I told Doc, I got some crow's feet, Doc, and he said he didn't see anything, but so, right? And it's almost, in its extreme form, is a sense of gaslighting, right? Am I crazy, or is life really not that bad? And so you really, again, it's coming from a place of compassion. The thing we hate to do here in America is we hate to take that moment and sit alone with our thoughts because we're not sure if they're going to scare us to death.
So how do we deal with toxic positivity? How do we abet it? And how do we deflect it if it's thrown at us?
So accept it in the spirit in which it was given. Hey, you know what? I really appreciate. I didn't even think about it like that, Doc. I didn't think about the fact that, because I stubbed my toe, it could have been worse because I could have had my leg chopped off. I didn't think about that, right? That's a great point. But I'm not there yet because my toe is still hurting, right? And so I'm going to just sit and think about that hurt toe for a little while, and I'm going to touch my little piggies, but appreciate that and thank you. And then you can move on down the way, because it's not meant in a harmful way. It's like, hey, I don't know how to help you here, I can just try to help move you to the solution, because staying on the problem makes me uncomfortable, and it may make me think about some things that aren't going great in my life. So people want to move to the fix instead of, as opposed to sitting in that dark. And the dark is okay because, right, it helps define the light.
You are good at this stuff, Doc. There's a lot to that psychiatry gig, isn't there? I'm just an amateur at that. All right, lots of great information.
This is why toxic positivity can be so harmful. Toxic positivity is the belief that no matter how dire or difficult a situation is, people should maintain a positive mindset. Having a positive outlook on life is good for your mental well-being. Point 1. The problem is that life isn't always positive. We all have painful emotions and experiences. Those emotions, while often unpleasant, need to be felt and dealt with openly and honestly to achieve acceptance and greater psychological health. Point 2. Toxic positivity takes positive thinking to an overgeneralized extreme. This attitude doesn't just stress the importance of optimism, it also minimizes and even denies any trace of human emotions not strictly happy or positive. Toxic positivity means having a good vibes only approach to life and discarding any seemingly negative emotions. It denies people the authentic support they need to cope with what they are facing. Examples of toxic positivity. Toxic positivity can take a wide variety of forms. When something bad happens, such as losing your job, people may say to just stay positive, or look on the bright side. While such comments are often meant to be sympathetic, they can shut down anything the other person might want to say about what they are experiencing. After experiencing some type of loss, people might say that everything happens for a reason. While people will make such statements because they believe they are comforting, this is also a way of avoiding the other person's pain. Upon expressing disappointment or sadness, someone may respond that happiness is a choice. This suggests that if someone is feeling negative emotions, it's their own fault for not choosing to be happy. Toxic positivity versus optimism. It is possible to be optimistic in the face of difficult experiences and challenges. But people going through trauma don't need to be told to stay positive or feel that they are being judged for not maintaining a sunny outlook. It's shaming. Receiving toxic positivity can lead to feelings of shame. Point 3. It tells people that the emotions they are feeling are unacceptable. When someone is suffering, they need to know that their emotions are valid and that they can find relief and love in their friends and family. It causes guilt. Being toxically positive can also cause feelings of guilt. Point 3. It sends a message that if you aren't finding a way to feel positive, even in the face of tragedy, you are doing something wrong. It avoids authentic human emotion. Toxic positivity functions as an avoidance mechanism. When people engage in this type of behavior, it allows them to sidestep emotional situations that make them feel uncomfortable. Sometimes we turn these same ideas on ourselves, internalizing them. When we feel difficult emotions, we then discount, dismiss, and deny them. It prevents growth. Toxic positivity allows us to avoid feeling things that might be painful. But this denies us the ability to face challenging feelings that can ultimately lead to growth and deeper insight. The positive vibes only mantra can be particularly grating during times of intense personal distress. When people are coping with situations such as financial troubles, job loss, illness, or the loss of a loved one, being told that they need to look on the bright side can seem downright cruel. Signs of toxic positivity. Toxic positivity can often be subtle. Learning to recognize the signs can help you better identify this type of behavior. Signs that you might be toxically positive include brushing off problems rather than facing them, hiding your true feelings behind feel-good quotes that seem socially acceptable, minimizing other people's feelings because they make you uncomfortable, shaming other people when they don't have a positive attitude. It's equally important to know when someone else may be acting toxically positive with you, potentially hurting your mental well-being. Signs that you may be on the receiving end of toxic positivity include feeling guilty about being sad, angry, or disappointed, hiding or disguising how you really feel, trying to be stoic or get over painful emotions. Sometimes, this type of behavior may serve as a coping mechanism to help people reduce or avoid stress. Rather than face a difficult emotion, People try to avoid it by putting a positive spin on a bad situation. How to avoid toxic positivity? If you recognize toxically positive behaviors in yourself, there are things that you can do to develop a healthier, more supportive approach. Develop an attitude that it's okay to not be okay. Instead of having a viewpoint that it's wrong to have negative feelings, accept that it isn't realistic to be okay all the time. Remind yourself that if someone doesn't feel okay, that's perfectly acceptable. Manage your negative emotions, but don't deny them. Negative emotions can cause stress when unchecked. But they can also provide important information that can lead to beneficial changes in your life. Focus on listening to others and showing support. When someone expresses a difficult emotion, don't shut them down with toxic positivity. Instead, let them know that what they are feeling is normal and you are there to listen. Coping with toxic positivity. If someone you know has a tendency to respond to your negative feelings with statements that aren't supportive or emotionally validating, some ways you can respond to toxic positivity include: be realistic about what you feel. Don't be afraid to challenge the person being toxically positive. Know that it's okay to feel more than one thing. Look for meaning behind what you're going through. Tragic optimism, or searching for the meaning behind difficult situations, is the opposite of toxic positivity and, according to some, is considered the antidote to this type of response. Point 6. Notice how you feel. If you are left with a sense of shame or guilt after seeing uplifting posts, it might be due to toxic positivity. Put your feelings into words. Toxic positivity is often subtle, and many of us have engaged in this type of thinking at one point or another. By learning to recognize it, however, you're better able to rid yourself of this type of thinking and provide, and receive, more authentic support when you are going through something that isn't easy. Start noticing toxic statements and strive to let yourself and others feel your emotions, both the positive and the negative. Read the book of Kendra Cherry, MS, is a psychosocial rehabilitation specialist, psychology educator, and author of the Everything Psychology book.